Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into Ho Chi Minh City, a place many people still affectionately call Saigon. It's a city really forged by centuries of change. We're talking ancient roots, Vietnamese expansion, that huge French colonial influence, and then, well, the post-war transformation. So our mission today is to sort of unpack this complex evolution, see how its identity was shaped.
And it's quite a journey, isn't it? We'll see how things like shifting names, deliberate city planning, and just incredible resilience tell this compelling story. There's some surprising facts here about how a city can absorb and, well, redefine outside influences. What can you learn from this, about how cultures manage to thrive, even under immense pressure?
Okay, so to really understand the city, we have to go way back,
Yeah.
like long before the French. This area has a really deep history. Funan, Khmer settlements like Prénocourt, which meant forest city, right?
You're right, Forest City.
So what takes us from those ancient roots towards the period just before the French arrived?
Well, a key process was the Nam Tien, the Vietnamese southward expansion. This really reshaped things in the 17th century. And what's fascinating, I think, is that back in 1623, the Khmer king, Sep II, actually gave permission for Vietnamese settlers to move into the area. This meant people started informally calling the place Saigon before it was formally annexed as Gia in 1698.
Wow, okay. So the name was already in use informally.
Exactly. It shows how settlement and maybe soft power dynamics can happen on the ground before the official lines are drawn.
Right. In Vietnam itself, it really grew into quite the trading hub in the 18th century. You mentioned Chinese, Malay, Dutch, Portuguese ships.
Oh,
It was already buzzing.
absolutely buzzing.
So it had this early global connection. Did that kind of inadvertently pave the way for later colonial interest?
I think you could definitely argue that. It was already part of these emerging global networks. There was even a French mercenary involved in building a citadel there early on. So when the French officially captured Saigon in 1859, they weren't coming into a complete vacuum, but their approach, it was different. It was a very deliberate, almost ideological erasure of the Vietnamese city that existed. They wanted to build a grand city, largely on modern European lines. Think Haussmann in Paris.
Ah, those wide boulevards.
Precisely. And urban planning became a tool for social control. Wide streets are much harder for uprisings to barricade, you see. It's a stark reminder that even beautiful city design can serve a darker purpose.
Definitely. And beyond the civilizing mission rhetoric, there were clear economic drivers, right? France needed resources, rice, rubber, and a market for its own goods.
Oh, absolutely.
But any economic progress, it mostly benefited the French and maybe a small group of wealthy Vietnamese collaborators.
That's the crux of it. For the vast majority of Vietnamese people, it meant exploitation, poverty. So for many, capitalism itself got deeply intertwined with foreign domination.
But that period left such a visible mark on the city's architecture.
Undeniably, you see these grand buildings, the City Hall, originally the Hôtel de Ville. What's fascinating there is that it still has French allegorical sculptures, but now it's the People's Committee building representing independent Vietnam. It's a reinterpretation of meaning.
A real repurposing.
Exactly. And the Central Post Office, often linked to Eiffel, though that's debated, it's still a working post office, and a huge tourist site with Ho Chi Minh's portrait inside, past and present right there.
And Nguyen Nguyen Hue Boulevard.
Ah, yes, that went from being a polluted canal to a grand French boulevard.
Yeah.
And now it's this vibrant pedestrian street. It really signifies that post-colonial reclaiming of public space.
Of course, we can't talk about Saigon without mentioning the Vietnam War's impact. It was profound. Huge numbers of people displaced from the countryside became refugees in the city.
Tripling the population by 1970, straining everything, infrastructure, social fabric, just immense pressure.
Then, after the war, 1976, came the official renaming to Ho Chi Minh City.
Yes, but it begs the question, doesn't it? Why is Saigon still so commonly used, so persistent?
It points to that duality, maybe.
Mm,
National political symbols versus that deep, local, historical memory.
I think so. It's a fascinating coexistence.
And then things shifted again with the OMU reforms in 1986. That wasn't just a creed from the top down, was it? It felt more pragmatic.
Very pragmatic. It was partly driven by grassroots economic activity, by people just trying to make things work, and frankly, by the clear failures of the old centralized planning model.
Leading to the socialist-oriented market economy and that rapid growth we've seen.
Exactly. Which brings us to today. Ho Chi Minh City is incredibly dynamic, a real economic and cultural powerhouse. Though, like many booming cities, it faces new challenges. Traffic, pollution, the side effects of rapid development.
So when you pull it all together, What does this history tell us? It feels like a story of constant transformation, resilience, adaptation. A city that's absorbed layer after layer of influence, indigenous, Vietnamese, French, global, and somehow redefined them all.
I agree. And those physical remnants, especially the French colonial buildings that are still there, still used. They aren't just museum pieces. They're living proof of the city's ability to handle its, let's call it, dissonant heritage, to weave even the difficult parts into a vibrant, forward-looking identity.
So something for you, the listener, to think about. How does a city's physical landscape, what it keeps, what it tears down, what it repurposes, how does that reflect its ongoing conversation with its own identity as it moves into the future?